Gather the women. The women are gathering all over the world. What a time to be alive. This is the most interesting time in human history. I realize other times thought they were it, they're wrong. This is it. This is the time, friends, women, when it's up to us to make the difference as to whether we live or whether we die. You know, perhaps the most important thing that has happened in the last 5,000 years is happening right now. The rise of women to full partnership with men in the whole domain of human affairs. What an opportunity. Why is it so important? Well, with women, the emphasis is on process rather than on product, on making things cohere and develop and grow. I remember once Margaret Mead and I were visiting women who were heads of their companies. She said, "Watch, Jean. Look how different they are from the men CEOs we've been looking at. Look, notice how they braid their work. Now look at that woman there. Now she's getting out the quarterly report, but she's also asking people how they feel. She's getting their life story. She knows who they are. It's very different. And it's going to make a different world. This is a world of so many levels, so many layers, so much complexity. Never before in human history have we had so much complexity. Most people live somewhere between 5 to 10 to 100 times the amount of sheer complexity, sheer experience of their ancestors of 100 years ago. Many people get very wounded by this. We haven't been prepared for this. Most people have been prepared for a much earlier time. But women know how to continue. Women know how to take all this complexity and to begin to braid and to compose new ways of being, new ways of living, new ways of working together. A woman would no sooner kill off her business than she would her child. Again, the emphasis is on process, making things cohere, grow. The rise of feminine structures, feminine archetypes, all over the world. Now, it's very interesting that many years ago, Margaret Mead was actually on her deathbed. She said to me, "Jean, forget everything I've been teaching you about working with governments and bureaucracies." I said, "Now, you tell me this now." She said, "Yes, I've been lying here being an anthropologist on my own dying. Fascinating experience." She said, there's no hierarchy to it. And I realize if we're going to grow and green our time, it's a question of people getting together, gathering together in teaching, learning communities, doing exercises in body and mind and spirit, developing, increasing their capacities at all possible levels, and as a result of that increase, then going out and being adequate stewards of the most important time of transition in human history. And she said, "Jean, when the time is right, you go out and do that." And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I will." And I think about all these gatherings of women, these great circles, these wisdom circles, these tremendous emergence all over the world of these kinds of gatherings. And one thing that I would suggest in these times of mutual empowerment, mutual support, that you think about increasing the complexity, the depth, the beauty of who and what you are on at least 4 levels, sensory and physical. Increase your sensory sense of beauty, of pattern, of awareness, of mindfulness. Also try to stay in good shape if you can. Psychological. Cross the great divide of otherness. Be there richly, deeply, for each other, compassionate listening, deep inquiry. Nothing works better than hearing each other's stories. That's one of the things that overcomes all the hurts and pains. Mythically, this is a tremendous time. This is a time of where women are taking on heroic tasks, and not the old patriarchal tasks at all, but the tasks of leading families, communities, worlds to new ways of being. There's recently been a study of the fact that there are over 2.5 million service organizations, new kinds of service organizations all over the world. Organizations that attend to ways we birth ourselves, the ways we die, the ways we maintain our health, the ways we maintain the ecology, good governance. And many of these, in fact the majority, have as their main leaders women. It is women who are making this difference. And then, of course, in the midst of this new story, of the women joining with men in the whole domain of human affairs, there's ultimately the spiritual level. We women know that we are, as an old friend of mine who I used to walk with, he turned out to be Teilhard de Chardin. I called him Mr. Teilhard. He said, "Oh, Jeanne," he said, "we think we are human beings having a spiritual experience, but actually we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That we are grounded, deepened, sourced by spirit. And it's very important that as we work and grow together, that we have some form of spiritual exercise, spiritual process, that keeps us connected to the womb of all becoming. These are the times. We are the people. We are the women in the most important time in human history. Let us welcome and embrace our gatherings. Thank you.